I'm Joshua Patterson, and this is the Service Please Snack. I think your main target audience are, your Gen Zs and your Millennials. And I think Millennials, somewhat so, but I think Gen Z actually, for them, when you have any conversations and understand it, it is about that idea of trust, about openness, and just transparency. And I'd be intrigued to know how OneZone is able to basically maybe it's clear that obviously when I look at it from the curation of the lifestyle and the editorial elements through the photography and the UX experience, it's so seamless, and being able to have that conversation with people, it's clear that that's who you're marketing. But it's obviously, how do you live to maybe the values in which they're experiencing in this day and age and things like that, do you think?
I think you have to know your audience. I think our audience is still core millennial because they have the disposable income to go out. I think as much as you can look at the Gen Z market, depends where you class Gen Z, that's also the problem. In my head, Gen Z is 17, 18, and right now, they're probably just before uni. They might get inspired by some really cool Instagrammable stuff on TikTok now, like cool pasta, and the Big Mama Group does that really well. But I would say our audience is a slightly older market now. I think even when I went into it, I'm millennial, and actually 25 to 35, 35 to 45 is our core market because they've got money, they've been working, restaurants are expensive, prices are going up. So as much as I think the brand will attract Gen Z and it makes sense as a platform and they get the platform and the tech quicker, I think the core audience in terms of the usage is actually older because you need money to go out to most of these restaurants. So it's a bit of both. And then I think the editorial language, as we said earlier, about those conversations around diversity, that taps into Gen Z a lot more. And I think that's where that lends itself to. But I think in terms of the usage, it's that audience will have to mature to be able to use it properly. The same with travel, we launch more cities, but realistically, are you Gen Z, unless you're a very large influencer, are you going to those cities? No. But are all of my friends probably doing weekend breaks throughout the summer? Yes, so they use it all the time. Again, that's disposable income. So I think sometimes as these companies and platforms, it's so easy to try and want to be everything to everyone all the time. And I'm very clear about being razor sharp focused on many things so that we can achieve something. I think if you try and do everything, you're not going to achieve anything. So for example, as much as we have a bit of a TikTok, we're growing it slowly. Our core audience is still Instagram. We've done it well and we're still growing it. I'm not ignoring it, but I'm also not going to try and distract everything we've done to go and just go after a new platform.
Completely, and I think from what I've heard, it's always very important to build up one and then take them across and things like that in that kind of respect as well when it comes to social media platforms.
I think it's just learning. I don't think you can do everything well. I also think it's not I think you've got to find. One of my friends gave me some advice. She was find someone who loves TikTok and wants to be on it because they'll do a better job because they love it. She was you don't love it, so how are you ever going to do it that well? I have my own torturous relationship with Instagram. I barely do that well. Because I don't know, the reason sometimes why I love OneZone is we've built a platform that is not about social competition, and you can't really compete, apart from have you been to more places than I have, which actually is quite fun. It's not showing off, it's not false, there's no false reality that you're entering into. Anyone can book these restaurants, anyone can go wherever you want. And it's just a really nice platform, and I think it's quite a safe space away from all of that social world.
And we spoke a little bit about, obviously, disposable income and maybe it's an older generation and stuff like that. But as potentially the Gen Zs and other people become maybe a little bit more financially free or have that disposable income, or even what would be even beautiful, it's they use the OneZone app as that special occasion and they choose. Exactly. How is it that you're able to maintain that level of confidence within the people that are on the app, as in the restaurants and the bars and things like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we curate everything ourselves. I mean, I think that quality and value is just hyper important. Everyone always asks me how we do it. It's a bit of unique OneZone-ness. So one of my investors once said, how are you going to curate on a mass scale because you need AU to understand what the OneZone curation is, and I luckily now have an amazing head of curation who gets it and is now teaching her team of curators. There's kind of a two-fro thing here. The reason I built it in that I thought you should have an app that you would open and all of the values in there. We've done that hard work for you. Now I look at a lot of the apps that have come out in this space, and a lot of them try to be social apps. I think maybe to be the next Instagram, I don't know. But they're like, and I get why, because you would ask your friends for recommendations. They're like, all of your friends can put all your places. Now, my view is that everyone is busy, no one has time. If I said to you, put all of your 50 best places on an app, you'd be like, oh, I just can't be bothered. Like, people don't do that. So I was like, to me, I don't know how that's ever going to take off, because the reason OneZone works is because it is our jobs to do that 24/7. So that value is in there. And we are constantly maintaining that curation, whether that's being out on the streets all of the time, looking at, and we've built relationships where users will send places in all the time. And again, like, let's say 100 out of, oh, that's a bad example, like, okay, say 100 out of 1,000 come in, it would flag. So we're like, okay, cool, enough, it's coming in enough times for it to be useful. I might have friends who I know have a OneZone style taste, so I will listen to them. We know a lot of the restaurant PRs. You know, my business partner is the biggest food influencer in London. So it all adds together to aid this curation, and it is ever evolving, that we do take places off, we do add places, but that's the core part. If that curation goes, then we don't have a value, because I think that's our value proposition. So yeah, it's a very hard question to answer, which is funny because it is the USP of the business. But that came down to essentially my curation at the beginning, which is now wider. And it's not Natasha Zone's Bible to the world. I didn't want it to be that. The reason, it has my name in it, but I don't do this that often because I wanted the app to stand for itself. I didn't want it to be known as Natasha Zone, because then it comes down to one person and it shouldn't be that. I say, because I tried one day, and the reason we got to great food, great vibe, great service is because those are 3 core things that I think matter to a great experience. I mean, it also went to looking at, look, we're an experienced generation. Yes, we have fine dining places on there, but I feel like Michelin was an older generation. It responds differently. I feel like OneZone can be the next Michelin in terms of what that brand stands for to the next generation. We might not be going for fine dining dinners all the time or white tablecloths. We're eating out more. There's a lot more fast casual. It's a lot more real time. It's very, very hard to explain sometimes and pin down the power of OneZone, I think.
I hope you enjoyed this Service Please snack from the full meal. I have a final favour if you wouldn't mind helping me out. Could you interact with this channel in any way which feels best for you? That could either be by subscribing, liking, or even commenting an idea for future episodes and topics you'd like to hear spoken about. This will help amplify the voice of the hospitality and wider food industry, enabling more people to understand the innovations and daily struggles of one of the most dynamic sectors, and of course, the tastiest. I'm Joshua Patterson, and that was Service Please.